No, honey, my appointment is starting. The doc was just running behind schedule. Bye, I got to go.
Sometimes, narrators are lame and get in the way of the story. I plan to be as uninvasive as possible, but I'm here because this is Camus' first book with much inner dialogue, so in a gesture of good faith, the adaptator has written me to slightly resemble his wife, to hopefully elevate the narration's entertainment factor, while painlessly and simultaneously hitting all the key philosophical ponderances discussed in the book. And I, for my part, will try to be as helpful and undisruptive as I can be, like a good nurse or an assistant for the elderly you would think would be popular around the client's family members. So, this is Zagaruz. God bless his little pile of loot. He's taking a nap right now because, lately, he has been tired in the mornings. It's 10 in the AM and Patrice Merceau is walking very briskly to see you.
Me? I'm not expecting anyone. No.
No. Really? I think he's intent on coming to put you out of your misery.
Ho, I must be dreaming. If not, okay, bring him in. I am miserable, and I could go for being put out of it. Who would have thought I dare the son of a Schwein? Yes, euthanasia, indeed, would be nice. Just the thought of its reality makes me feel young again.
Just be a good boy for mama and take care of the dirty business. As quietly as a kid from the 1800s who is used to falling asleep with a drop of laudanum.
Hey, everyone, look at me. I'm in the wheelchair.
Come on, get off the set.
Okay.
Pal. Here is Zaki. He really wants to die anyway, and he tells anyone he thinks can help him achieve this objective. He's got the loaded Luger and suicide note all ready to go. I am doing away with only half a man. It need cause no problem, there is more than enough here to pay off those who have taken care of me till now. Please use what is left over to improve conditions for men on death row. But I know it's asking a lot. Signed, Roland Zagaruz. You hanging in there?
What?
Have you ever danced with the devil on a pale blue night?
Here is a story of a boy's first lesson. He's gotta die by the ender, but with all learning, it better late than never.
Patrice Merceau.
Well, no need to get everyone sick. I'm Martha.
I bet this is one of the Freudian-approved love interest anyone willing to put down on 4-to-1 odds. Who could say how chauvinist with me? What about you, silly pretty girl?
Just because you're not invited to orgy with the minors, doesn't mean you have to be an ass. This is a layered production of a work we feel is thought-provoking on multiple levels, so if you are not enjoying this, feel free to think what you want.
Not to beat a dead horse, but heckling talent is so lame, for though we are exhibitionists, we hope our own humility is charming enough for you to afford us basic human courtesies. And don't start talking about Freud, please, or anyone else, even if you read a book or watched a documentary, because we are in the middle of a show.
Not bad.
Well, who do we have here with you?
Yes.
We already met, my dear. I mean me and the audience, Zagaruz. But it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, madame. With a little luck and a whole bunch of money, I could pretend to be anywhere. Want to meet me on Troflamodor?
I love you, but I'm so bored of your same old face, like I wish I could get off to the movies you watch with all the people getting together and just masticating, stuffing their faces with all sorts of ethnic dishes. Gnashing yellowed chompers always seems to make chewed food appear darker than it should be, like if there is an industry of chewing stars, maybe teeth could be whitened, even just as patronization to a niche within the niche. But either way, I can't enjoy it when there is no fornication, or even the mention of masturbation, in any of those collections, but don't you know, that could go a long way when you want to make pornography. So if you don't need me right now, I want to get going after my various prerogatives until I'm up again.
Don't worry, it's no problem. I love you, too.
Hi, my name is, what? My name is, who? My name is, Slicka Slicka. The real Slim Shady, Emmanuel. Well, it's a numbers game. Just ask people who are at least as successful as I am.
No, we only have coffee. No, maybe muffins. No, maybe donuts. I am Celeste.
No, you're on.
Oh, I thought this was a rehearsal.
Nope, not a rehearsal.
Hey, I am Celeste and my cafe is my identity. It's a great place to meet friends and drink coffee. Well, we may even have some muffins or donuts someday, or maybe something that you want but will only think of in the future.
Did you ever hear of Rimpo?
Only in a Dylan song, but I never read his poetry.
Oh, I was hoping to connect with you on a deeper level, but I should have known better than to expect things from strangers. I am Renee, a hard-working waiter with tuberculosis, only in this piece as a specimen for studies in theoretical morality, or something.
Dude, relax. We are all here in the same capacity. We are all counterpoints to something.
Oh, well then, yeah, that's fine I guess.
Hello. I am the man in the suit. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. You're as beautiful as the goddess Persepolis.
And you must be Hades trying to get me to come live with you in hell?
Also got oranges for sale. Or barter if you please.
Hack.
There. Have a smoke.
Quay. Don't mind if I do.
A little stage fright.
It's all good.
This is my young protege, Claire, and I'm Nam.
She is Rose. I don't know why she introduced me, I was just skipping the beat like the director insisted. We agreed I would introduce us because I'm better at remembering lines, and man, he's particular. I worked hard to decipher the rhythm. She's playing my positive, maternal, or something like that, type of influence.
Claire, relax. Don't worry, she's cool.
Am I? If I am cool, it has nothing to do with you saying that.
Catherine. What the hell, dude? We said we weren't doing that. Whatever. Good improv. Let's jet. Keeping it moving in all.
No. It's warm. I'm fine, Elaine.
No, I mean it. Noel, if you're cold, you could wear a coat and we could change the scenery. Ardono and his sister.
Lucien.
Dr. Bernard. I play Zuglerus and Dr. Bernard in this production. So prepare to suspend your disbelief.
It comes up in your chest. It comes when you feel good. When you're in the water.
It's true, Emmanuel sings whenever he swims.
I'm a pretty good singer.
Welcome! Well, pretty good for an old man. But you know that old men are all the same, shitheads. They tell you a real man's got to be 50. But that's because they are 50. I knew this one guy who could just have his good times with his son. They used to go out together. On the town.
I'm a little light on funds.
Don't you worry. This is on me.
They'd go to the casinos.
Woo woo. Good for you, Pop.
And this guy would say, why should I hang out with a lot of old men? Every day they tell me they've taken some medicine and there is always something wrong with their liver. It's true. Of course the man was no authority, but I liked him all right. Anyways, it was better than this other guy I knew. When he made his money he would talk with his head way up making gestures all the time. Now that he lost it all he isn't that proud of himself. Serves him right. If you're a bastard all your life. What? The guy took it while he had it, and he was right. Almost 1 million francs he had. Now if it'd be me. Okay. What would you do? I'd buy myself a cabin on the beach and I'd put some glue in my navel and stick a flag in there and wait to see which way the wind blows.
Hey, Celeste, do you know that I was a soldier?
Cut the bullshit. Show off. Is that right? A young boy like you? Well, who else could they get?
That's right. The major said, charge. And we ran down into the scully except with trees in it. He told us to charge, but there was no one there, so we kept on marching, just kept on walking.
Oh my.
That's right, oh my. And then all of a sudden the machine guns are firing onto us and we all fall onto each other. There was so much dead and wounded that you could row a boat across the blood in that gully. Christ, it was awful.
Wow, what a vignette. Let's save some energy for later. It's Rene. He's usually quiet and serious, and though he is not peculiarly thin, his eyes glitter. As if he was thin? I don't get it. Well, let's move on. Why just now, another customer came to you explaining that with time and patience, TB could be cured. But nothing, you still do nothing, just sitting here, nodding, eating your egg. Did you ever hear of Jean Perez? When he knew it, he worked for the gas company. Now he's dead, but when that one lung went bad, he left the hospital and went home. What a poor wife, she was his horse. You know his sickness made him like that.
How so?
You know how so. She didn't want it, though I'm not exactly sure what she didn't want, but either way, he had to. So 2-3 times a day it ends up killing a man.
Yes, the thing comes on fast and it takes a long time to get rid of it.
This used to be Patrice's mother's room. They had this little 3-bedroom apartment for a long time. Now that he's alone, he rents 2 rooms to a man he knows, a barrel maker and his sister, but he kept the best room for himself. She was 56 when she died. At 40, she was stricken by the terrible disease and she had to give up her clothing and cosmetics, and she was reduced to hospital gowns. Her face deformed by the terrible swellings, and her swollen legs and her weakness kept her just about immobilized. She would grope frantically around the colorless apartment, which she couldn't care for anymore because she went half blind. The diabetes she neglected had been further aggravated by her careless lifestyle. So, Patrice had to abandon his studies and take a job. For 10 years that woman endured that life, and the suffering had lasted so long that the people around her grew accustomed to it, to the point that everyone forgot that she was deathly ill and that she was going to die.
What? You're not hungry anymore? Sit closer to the lamp or you will ruin your eyes.
This poverty that we share,
Yes.
there's a certain sweetness to it. I have a secret joy in this silence and the simplicity of it all.
Why, of course. Patrice is walking proudly and he pauses to look at the lights and the shadows flickering across my face, because everything is wonderfully simple. He is always grateful to me for letting myself be displayed with him in public, the beauty I offer, day after day, like some delicate intoxication.
Oh, hey!
Oh? Hey.
Good to meet you, young man. Who was that guy?
Who?
That guy we just saw.
Oh. Do you have to know?
Patrice is thinking that you are thinking. Sure, show off all you want.
Now why would I be thinking that?
Because you can. He's thinking that you are imagining Mars' every gesture, even the way she puts her arm over her eyes.
Well, yeah, I am thinking that.
Ah, Patrice just fell in love. Mars walking over to Patrice's now. She left work early. She's a secretary. She doesn't love you, but she is attached to you insofar that you intrigue her and flatter her. Since the day Manuel, whom you introduced her to, told her that Patrice is a good guy, you know, he is guts. But doesn't talk so people don't realize what he wants. She regarded you with curiosity, and since your lovemaking satisfied her, she asks for nothing more, adapting herself as best as she can to a silent lover who makes no demands, and takes her when she wants to come.
I guess I'm really just the cat's meow.
Oh, I'm not finished. She is a little uneasy about you because she doesn't know your weak points yet. Last night, in the cafe, she realized that she could hurt you.
What? I could hurt her.
She didn't say anything about it all evening as she slept in your bed. You must have known. You didn't even touch her. So from now on, she will probably use it to her advantage. She already told you that she had other lovers, but now she seems to have found the necessary proof to show you.
What the fuck ever. I don't like being watched while I sleep.
Oh. Darling, this is just another one of your moods.
Don't call me darling, please. I've already asked you not to.
You remind me of someone that way. I wonder who he is. You're mad at me, aren't you? It started yesterday, that's why I came today. Aren't you gonna talk to me? You know that man yesterday? Well, I was just kidding. He was never my lover.
No?
Well, not really.
Not really joking, or not really your lover?
Yeah, that's right.
How many lovers have you had?
Oh, don't be like this. Maybe 10.
Do I know them?
Some of them are around here.
Now listen to me. Try to understand what I'm saying. Promise. And tell me their names. And I want you to point out the others, the ones I don't know, if we pass them in the street.
Oh no.
I'm asking you to tell me because I know myself. If I don't find out exactly who they are, each man I meet will make the same thing happen, and I'll wonder, I'll imagine. That's what it is. I imagine too much. I don't know if you understand.
Jesus, I understand, and I'm gonna tell him. And he'll even get to make a joke next time we fool around, laughing at Renee the waiter's very competent and accommodating lovemaking skills.
Mart will say, don't get any ideas, we only did it once, and besides she didn't even take off her shoes. And that's enough.
Oh, just shut up.
Oh, darling.
Who's Zagorus? He's the only one I don't know.
Oh, him. Okay, him. I still see him. He was the first one, you have to understand that. I was just a kid. He was older. Now he has both legs amputated and he lives alone, so I still go to visit him sometimes. He still reads all the time. In those days he was a student. And he's always making jokes. Besides, he says the same things you do. He says to me, come here, Image. I've told him all about you. I told him that my darling is very handsome and very strong. He wants to meet you. This is what he said, the sight of a good body helps me breathe.
He sounds crazy.
Oh, not as crazy as some of your friends.
What friends?
Those little grinds.
The little grinds were Rose and Claire, students in Tunis whom Mirza used to know and with whom he maintained the only correspondence in his life.
Listen, darling, you don't happen to be in love with those little grinds by any chance, do you?
No.
Do you love me?
Now that's a serious question.
Answer me.
People don't love each other at our age. More they please each other, that's all. Later on, when you're old and impotent, you could love somebody. But at your age you just think it's love.
Now, Roland, this is Patrice Mirza. I told you about him.
Yes. Yes.
Patrice, you look annoyed, don't be. And you're staring for the man's stumps. You have to relax. Zagorus is going to avoid anything that might be embarrassing about two lovers of the same woman meeting in her presence. He's gotta make you something of an accomplice by calling me a good girl and laughing afterwards. And Patrice, I know you don't care to be around half portions. But why don't you listen to his boyish laugh? And how could you be jealous of a man who has no legs when you think about them too? What? Is it a big worm on top of your mark? No offense.
I could never take offense from one as consoling, however honest, as yourself.
Also, Roland thinks before he talks. I'll give you guys some privacy to get to know each other. Patrice, I will see you tomorrow or so.
You look tired.
Yes, I don't know what to do. I feel like getting married, or committing suicide, or subscribing to Illustration. Something desperate, you know.
You're a poor man, Mirza. That explains half your disgust. The other half is from your submission to poverty. You know, a man always judges himself by the balance of the needs of his body and the needs of his mind. You're judging yourself now and you don't like the sentence. You live badly, like a barbarian. You like driving a car, don't you?
Yes.
Women?
When they're beautiful.
That's what I meant, all those things. I don't like talking seriously because then there is only one thing to talk about, the justification you can give for your life. And I don't see how I could justify the amputation of my legs.
Neither do I.
Thanks. You don't leave me any illusions. But you're right to be hard. Still, there is something that I would like to say to you. I have someone to help me, set me on the toilet, and afterwards to wash and dry me. Worse, I pay someone to do it. But still, I will never cut short this life that I believe in so much. I accept even worse, blind, dumb, anything, as long as I feel in my belly that dark fire burning in me that tells me I'm alive. The only thing that occurs to me is to thank life for letting me burn on. And you, Mersaw, a body like yours, your only duty is to live and be happy.
Don't make me laugh. With 8 hours a day at the office. Oh, it would be different if I was free. A few years ago I had everything before me. People talked to me about my life. Yes, I even did all the things you have to do to have such things. But even back then it was alien to me. To devote myself to a personality, that's what concerns me. Not to be happy, not to be against. I can't explain it, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
Even now, if I had the time, I would only have to let myself go. Everything else that would happen to me would be just like rain on stone. The stones cool off and that's fine. Another day the sun bakes it. I've always thought that's exactly what happiness would be.
A body always has the ideal it deserves. That idea of a stone, if I may say so, you would have to have the body of a demigod to sustain it.
Right, but don't exaggerate. I've done a lot of sports, that's all. And I'm capable of going quite far in pleasure.
Yes, so much better for you. To know your body's limits, that's true psychology. But it doesn't matter anyway. We don't have to be ourselves. We only have time to be happy. You can't just save a little here and a little there. It's a record like anything else.
I'm sorry, Zachary, but it's been a long time since I've talked about certain things. I don't know anymore, I'm not sure. When I look at my life and its secret colors, I feel like bursting into tears. Like the sky is rain and sun in both the noon and midnight. You know, I think of the lips I kissed, the wretched child I was, the madness of life, and the ambition that sometimes carries me away. I'm all those things at once. I'm sure there are times when you wouldn't recognize me. Extreme in misery, excessive in happiness. I can't say it.
You're playing several games at the same time.
Yes, but not as an amateur. Each time I think of that flutter of pain and joy in myself, I know I can't tell you how deeply I know that the games I'm playing are the most serious and exciting ones to play.
Then you have something to do?
I have my living to earn. My work, those 8 hours a day. Other people can stand my work keeps me from doing it. And yet, if I was strong enough and patient enough, I know what kind of life I'd have. I wouldn't make an experiment out of my life. Yes, I know what passion would fill me with all of its power. Before, I was too young, I got in the way. Now I know that acting and loving and suffering is living, of course, but it's living only as long as you can accept your fate, like the unique reflection of a rainbow of joys and passions which is the same for everyone.
Yes, but you can't live that way and work.
No, because I am constantly involved. That's what's wrong.
Anyone who loves you is in for a lot of pain.
Other people's feelings have no hold over me.
True. I was just remarking on the fact. You will be alone someday, that's all. Now sit down and listen to me. What you said was interesting. One thing especially, because it confirms everything my own experience as a human being has taught me. I like you very much. Because you have a body, more ever. Because of your body, I feel like I could talk to you frankly. What I'm sure of is that you can't be happy without money. That's all. I don't like superficiality, and I don't like romanticism. I like to be conscious. And what I noticed is that there is a kind of spiritual snobism in certain superior beings who think that money isn't necessary for happiness. Which is stupid, which is false, and to a certain degree, it is cowardly. You see, Mersaw, for a man who is well born, being happy is never complicated. It's enough to take up the general fate, only not with the will for reunification like many fake great men. but for the will of happiness. Only it takes time to be happy. A lot of time. Happiness, too, is a long practice. And in almost every case, we use up our lives making money, when we should be using money to gain time. That's the only problem that ever concerned me. Very specific, very clear. Oh, I know perfectly well that most rich men don't have a sense of happiness. But that's not the question. To have money is only to have time. That's my point. Time could be bought. Everything could be bought. To be or to become rich is to have time to be happy if you deserve it. At 25, I already realized that any man with the sense, the will, and the craving for happiness was entitled to be rich. The craving for happiness seems to me the noblest thing in a man's heart. In my eyes, it justifies everything, because a pure heart is good enough. That was when I started making my fortune. I didn't let the law get in my way. I wouldn't have let anything get in my way, and in a few years, I had done it. You know what I mean, 2 million. The world was all before me. And with the world, the life I dreamed in solitude and anticipation. The life I would have had without the accident that took my legs almost immediately afterwards. I haven't been able to stop living. And now here I am. You have to understand that I didn't want to lead a lesser life. For 20 years, my money has been here beside me. I live modestly and scarcely touch the capital. Pow. Of course my life is ruined. But I was right in those days. Everything for happiness, against the world that surrounds us with its violence and stupidity. You see, all the misery and cruelty of our civilizations could be measured with this stupid axiom. Happy nations have no history.
I think I understand.
I'd like to be sure. Don't think I'm saying that money makes happiness. I only mean that for certain classes of beings, happiness is possible, provided that they have time, and that having money is a way of being free from money.
A wreck. A zero in this world.
It's a beautiful risk to take. And it's better to bet on this life than the next. For me, of course, it's another matter. For 20 years I've been unable to have the experience of a certain type of happiness. This life which devours me, I won't have known it to the full. And what frightens me about death is the certainty it will bring me that my life has been consummated without me. I will have lived. Marginally, do you understand? Which means, Mersaw, that underneath, in my condition, I still have hope. Think about it.
Could I turn off the lights?
Please. Do. Don't take me too seriously. It always annoys me the tragic look that comes into people's faces when they see my stumps.
He's playing games with me.
Don't take anything seriously but happiness. Think about it, Mersaw. You have a pure heart and you have legs.
She's dead.
That's true, but it happened a long time ago. Cardona's deaf, half dumb, and a mean and violent man. Until recently he had lived with his sister, but his tyranny had at last exhausted the woman, and she had taken refuge with her children. So he now remains alone, as helpless as a man can be who must cook and clean for himself for the first time in his life. His sister had described their quarrels to Mersaw one day when she had met him in the street.
30, short, rather handsome. Since childhood he had lived with his mother, the only human being ever to inspire him with fear superstitious rather than justified. Moreover, he had loved her with all his uncouth heart, which is to say both harshly and eagerly, and the best proof of his affection was his way of teasing the old woman by mouthing, with difficulty, the worst abuse of priest and church. If he had lived so long with his mother, it was also because he had never indulged any other woman to care for him. Infrequent pickups in a brothel authorized him, however, to call himself a man. His mother died. From then on he lived with his sister. I rent them the room that they occupied. They each had their solitary lives that they struggled through long, dark, and dirty. They found it hard to speak to one another, days without a word. But she's gone now.
He's too proud to complain, to ask her to come back. So he washes his clothes, but the place is a mess, and he eats at a restaurant and sits in cafes looking at people. You know, when he's putting things in order, he's just hiding the disorder, pushing dirty clothes behind cushions, or arranging the most disparate objects on the CD board. He doesn't make his bed, and he sleeps with his dog in his blanket.
We met your sister on the street, and she said you're carrying on in cafes, even though her friend at the lunch said she saw you crying when you were washing your own sheets.
Your sister lived with you in pity, and you kept her from seeing the man she loved. It's not your place to judge the guy, even if he is a married man. You never were married. What do you know?
Well, she wanted us to give you the guilt trip.
That guy used to bring her flowers, oranges, and tiny little bottles of liquor. So what if he's not that handsome? You're a deaf mute, and you can't beat good looks. He was decent.
Ahem.
Poor Mama.
Stop putting yourself through this. You need to move on.
Why don't you just get out of here?
What about you?
I don't want to be here either, and I hope to be out in a second.
No more work. I loved her. I loved her. She loved me. She's dead. I'm alone. In the mantelpiece is a little barrel with brass hoops and a shiny spigot. I made that for her last birthday.
Well, this is some piece we found here. Well, nice city. And I like the Gothic steeples and all. Thank you. Sorry about the broken handle.
That will be 14 crowns. For one day's storage?
Stop being so cheap. We got the cheapest room, and more than enough money.
I'm going to town to find a woman.
Yeah, you do that. You really look sick. Remember the train? Each woman to pass you? You sat there waiting for the glance.
Well, how else are you permitted to play this delicately tender game of life?
Healthy people have a natural skill in avoiding feverish eyes. Unshaven, rumpled hair, you look like a restless animal, wrinkled shirt and trousers.
So we'll get me a suit and a car, and they'll get my respect back when I find a place to live.
Well, at least we have peace.
You saw that guy on the train last week.
You're paranoid?
All right, I'm gonna shave and see what I could do.
Hey, why doesn't it bother you when you overpay a hooker, but a poor bellboy you can't give a decent tip to?
I feel so bored and like we're just wasting time.
I don't know why. It's usually fun to travel.
Yeah, but that's when, I guess, I have somewhere in which direction to head. This is not bad. I need to just think, rest first, and then think.
Nice letter.
I don't remember finishing it before I fell asleep.
Yeah, you always finish what you start.
The soldier in me. Oh.
How are you doing?
Sick. So sick.
But we at peace, at least?
Well, with Mummy. At least.
Dear children, I'm writing from Vienna. I don't know what you're doing, but speaking for myself, I'm traveling for a living. I've seen a lot of beautiful things with a heavy heart. Here in Vienna, beauty has been replaced by civilization. It's a relief. I'm not looking at churches or ruins. I take walks in the ring. And in the evening, over the theaters and sumptuous palaces, the blind steeplechase of stone horses in the sunset fills me with a strange mixture of bitterness and delight. Mornings I eat soft-boiled eggs and thick cream. I get up late, the hotel people shower attention on me. I'm very impressed with the style of the Mater's Hotel and stuffed with good food. Oh, the cream.
Dear Patrice, we're in Algiers. Your children would be very glad to see you again. If you have nothing to do in the world, why don't you come to Algiers? We have room for you in the house. We're all happy here. We're ashamed of it, of course, but only for appearance's sake. And because of popular prejudice. If happiness appeals to you, come and try it here. It's better than re-enlisting. We bend our brows to your paternal kisses, Rose, Claire, Catherine. P.S. Catherine protests against the word paternal. Catherine is living with us. If you approve, she can be your third daughter.
I have no question about sleeping anymore. I have had my fill.
Are you all right?
I'm gonna stay awake. I must remain conscious despite friends, despite the comfort of body and soul. I have to create my happiness and my justifications. And doubtless the task will be easier for me now. But I crave a woman's love. Alas, I'm not made for love. Never till I met Martha did I think I was made for love.
Oh. We mailed her that letter when we left.
Well, she's not necessary. I was just born around her, but it was my suffering that made me.
Well, it often happens that what's best in life crystallizes around what's worst.
Well, most men can't prove they are not mediocre, but I will, just by loving life.
And the little grinds are gonna bring you happiness?
Where else should I go? I need to stop living in my head like this.
Well, enjoy your friendships.
Taste the sun.
Now it's your turn. I'm not indecent, am I?
The world and I disapprove of you.
You should know that before you came, we were totally free of inhibitions. For me, that meant I could walk around naked like I was naked in front of the world.
Yes, well, women naturally prefer their ideas to their sensations.
Are you calling me an intellectual wanker? All of femdom as well? You think I don't like to wank as much as you?
Shut up, Catherine, you're wrong.
Wrong.
Oh child, you're a real force of nature.
When did you start gaining weight? A lovely creature such as yourself is not entitled to grow ugly.
Oh please, stop tormenting the child. And I have good news for you.
My dear Rose, I'm all ears.
Today is your turn in the kitchen.
Splendid.
Remember fresh cream.
This is the boy we always talk about. He was almost late because he gets held up looking at all the pretty girls in the street. And we welcome you to our house above the world. We have pines all around here.
And cypresses, dusty olive trees, and eucalyptuses.
Well,
Mina's father died again for the third time this month, and I had to clean all day.
The Arabs here just think that they have lives, too.
well. Are you being sarcastic?
So you're the idealist?
Why?
Because when you hear something that upsets you, you can't help but say that it's true, but it's not a good thing.
That's interesting to hear.
She used to be so enchanted by our leave your inhibitions at the door policy. Till we told her that her stories were boring.
And that I'm an idiot.
No, not an idiot, just an idealist.
This is Noel, he's a sculptor. And he has such good manners that he is kind of a pushover.
Noel is not a pushover. Rose once tried to get Noel to buy our house things, because he used to come over with pies when we moved here and he always gave us cigarettes, and he used to give Rose cigarettes.
Do you want cigarettes? I brought an extra carton in the car.
No, I'm 14, and I do not want to pick up the habit. What a peculiar man. Well, at least he didn't buy that list of things for Rose.
Well, you guys haven't been praying for me to win the lottery.
Because then, we might as well be praying for ourselves. Dumbo.
As the idealist, I ask you people, what do you think of love? Well, if I were in love, I would get married.
Why would I waste being in love on figuring out how to get married?
Well, that attitude is just disgustingly materialistic.
Elaine, I'm so glad to hear you talk back. And I agree with you.
If she didn't agree, she would have been appalled and said, instead, don't talk back.
But the only thing is that I found that marriage is totally dissolved love.
I believe in women and children, and in a patriarchal truth of a concrete and sensuous life.
And I believe that I am more heterosexual than you can handle, so it's not all that applicable to you. Unless you're always coming here because you're inviting me to a patriarchal fantasy plan. In fact, as heterosexual as I am.
I feel a little bit that I must deserve it.
I know. I understand without your having to speak a word. You're the kind of man who can hold his tongue and let other people guess what he's thinking. But I'm glad you've declared yourself at last, for the persistence of your attentions was beginning to sully the purity of my reputation.
Not to mention that you'd have to act real fast because Rose's condition obliges you to take certain steps quickly. What?
Oh heavens, it's only her second month.
Besides, my lover boy, you've reached an age when you'll finally enjoy finding another man's face on your child.
It's a joke, only a joke, just play along with it.
It wasn't a joke.
Then you're just like me.
No. I'm merely trying to be happy as I can, as happy as possible.
And now you've figured out that love isn't the only way?
It's a mediocre ideal.
I don't know about a mediocre one, but it's a healthy one. And that.
Yes, to be as happy as possible.
I was just saying from the window that the women walking in the street were beautiful. I said that to my friends when I saw you.
We walk well together.
Let's go swimming.
Bye. I'm going.
Me? Yeah, well, bye now. Do you mind telling them that I'm down here and them going swimming?
Sure, it was nice to meet you.
We should marry each other.
Why? Do you love me?
Do you think that's
Romantic.
I'm buying a cabin on the beach in Genoa. I have to leave tomorrow.
But we're having such a good time with you.
I know. Are you cold?
No. Besides, it's so beautiful.
On good days, if we trust life, life has to answer me.
Yes. Yes. That is very appropriate parting words.
If you're happy here, why are you leaving?
There's a risk of being above little cabin, and that will happen.
I have nothing to say.
A lot of men complicate their lives and invent problems for themselves. In my case, it's really quite simple.
What I meant.
Never give up. Catherine, you have so much inside of you, and the noblest sense of happiness of all. No place for a man to come along. That's the mistake so many women make. Find your happiness inside of you.
I'm not complaining, Mirza. The only thing that matters now is that you take good care of yourself.
You shouldn't have said that. It is hurtful.
Well, it's just par for the course. I'm glad you made it to Shinoa.
Anyway. Anytime.
Anyway, what's wrong now? We got a house and a life. We have beaches and trees and nature and cafes. He has what he wants. He's in solitude and he's totally conscious, and he has friends here and abroad. He has a wife who visits him. So he's sick and coughing up blood in the morning.
Shut up. Please just don't talk about your business.
Okay then, let's talk about Lucien, a lovely lady if I must say so myself.
Yeah.
Well, she's coming now. Why don't you go get settled down? Like wrong. And putty hard. Marsan had himself in a humiliating, yet priceless truth. The condition for single happiness he sought was getting up early in the morning, taking regular swim conscience hygiene. So he has now established the routine that would henceforth require no further effort to harmonize his own breathing with the deepest rhythm of time, of life itself. Every morning now, he came downstairs before sunrise, and this first action controlled the day. Moreover, these swims exhausted him, but at the same time, because the fatigue and the energy afforded, gave his entire day a flavor of abandonment and joyful lassitude.
I have a lit cigarette.
I miss taking my walks with you.
It's nice to see you.
I have all my things downstairs. If you want to give me directions to your house, I could catch a cab and unpack.
All your things? All your bags?
Oh. You don't love me.
But I never said I did, my child.
I know, and that's how I know. But married people live together.
Yes, that is correct. You're a lovely girl, Lucien. I can't see any past that. It's all I ask of you, and it has to be good enough for the two of us.
I know.
Believe me, there is no such thing as great suffering, great regret, great memory. Everything is forgotten, even a great love. That's what's sad about life, and also what's wonderful about it. There is only a way of looking at things, a way that comes to you every once in a while.
That's why it's good to have had love in your life after all.
To have had an unhappy passion that gives you an alibi for the vague despairs we all suffer from. I don't know if you understand what I mean.
I think I understand. You're not happy.
I will be. I have to be. With this night, this sea, and this flesh under my fingers.
At least you feel friendly to me, don't you?
Friendly, yes, the way I feel friendly towards the night. You are the pleasure of my eyes, and you don't know what a place such joy can have in my heart. I miss Marth.
Oh, Patrice, I'm so glad to see you. I was wondering what had become of you.
Nothing. As you can see, I'm living in the country.
Wonderful. I've always dreamed of you living in the country. You know I'm not angry at you or anything.
No, you don't look angry.
Because I'm not. Don't be nasty, Patrice. I knew it would end like this someday. You were a funny guy. And I was nothing but a little girl. That's always what you used to say. Of course, when it happened, I was furious. But finally I told myself, isn't happy. And you know it's kind of funny, but that was the first time that I felt happy and sad about it at the same time.
You know, Martha, I'm very fond of you. Even now, if there's anything I can do.
No, I'm young still, and I don't do without. I hope we see each other again.
She was very decent to you. She accepted you as you were and spared you a great deal of loneliness. You were unfair. While your imagination and vanity gave her too much importance, your pride had given too little. So this is the cruel paradox by which we always deceive ourselves twice about the people we love, first to their advantage, then to their disadvantage.
Well,
Doc, I'm still here, aren't I?
Bernard is a silent man, but he had kind of a bitter wit that casts a gleam in his horn-rimmed glasses. He had practiced medicine a long time in Indochina, and at 40 he had retired to this corner of Algiers, and for several years he had led a tranquil life with his wife, an almost mute Indo-Chinese who wore Western-style clothing and arranged her hair in a bun. Bernard's appetite for indulgence enabled him to adapt to any milieu. He liked the whole village, and he was liked in return.
so the mayor here has presided over our destiny for the last decade, and this semi-permanent position makes him think that he's Napoleon Bonaparte.
He's a wealthy grape grower and he lives in a Greek-style house. He showed me.
Well, he doesn't run everything. There is a line between the two richest Spanish empires here, Morales and Vinges. They both got rich of a series of speculations. But when one buys a car, he chooses the most expensive make. But the other, who would buy the same make, would add silver handles. Morales is a genius at such tactics. He's known as the King of Spain, for on each occasion he triumphs over Vinges, who lacks imagination. During the war, Vinges pledged several 100,000 francs. Morales declared, "I'll do better than that, take my son." In 1925, Vinges had driven a magnificent racing Bugatti. 2 weeks later, Morales had built himself an hangar and bought a plane. How are you feeling today?
Not good.
Yeah, it's there. I can't imagine you having much longer to live.
Now that you're here, Mirza, tell me something. Are you happy?
For yourself.
Yes. Well, I wanted to ask you of course you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but do you love your wife?
That's not essential. You make a mistake of thinking that you have to choose, that you have to do what you want, that there are conditions for happiness. A kind of enormous ever-present consciousness. The rest, women, art, success is nothing but excess. A canvas waiting for one's embroideries.
Yes.
What matters to me is a certain quality of happiness. I can only find it in a certain struggle with its opposite. A stubborn and violent struggle. Am I happy? Kathy? You know the famous formula, if I had my life to live over again just the way it's been. But of course you can't know what that means.
No, of course I don't know what you mean.
And I don't know how to tell you. If I am happy, it's because of my bad conscience. I had to get away and reach the solitude where I could face it in myself. I mean what had to be faced. What was sun and what was tears. Yes, I'm happy in human terms.
Oh, Mirza, you look so tired.
I'm not surprised. Are you?
It's none of my business. But I don't think this place is good for you. It's too near the sea Judean. Why don't you go live in France in the mountains?
This place isn't good for me, Claire, but I'm happy here. I feel in harmony with it.
Well, you could feel in harmony longer.
No one could be happy relatively for a longer or shorter time. You're happy or you're not. That's all, and death is an accident of happiness, in that case.
I am not convinced.
It was really bad this morning.
I don't like being sick much myself.
Could I ask you a question?
Of course.
You never swim? You're never on the beach? Why did you pick this place to live?
I don't know exactly. It was a long time ago. Besides, I've always acted out of rancor. It's better now. Before, I wanted to be happy, to do what had to be done, to settle down somewhere I really wanted to be, for instance. But sentimental anticipation is always wrong. We have to live the way it's easiest for us to live, not forcing ourselves. I suppose it sounds a little cynical, but it's the point of view you have to take to survive.
Yes, but I'm not sure that all sentimental anticipation is wrong. Only unreasonable at sometimes. In any case, the only experiences I'm interested in are precisely the ones where everything turns out the way you'd hoped it would.
Yes, a ready-made destiny.
A man's destiny is always passionately interesting if he achieves it passionately. And for some men, the passionate destiny is the ready-made destiny.
Yes. You're the only man besides myself who lives here alone. I'm not talking about your wife and your friends downstairs. They are just episodes. Still, even so, you seem to love life more than I do. Because for me, loving life is not going for a swim. It's living in intoxicating intensity. Adventures, other countries. It's action, making something happen. A burning, marvelous life. What I mean is I want you to understand me. I love life too much to be satisfied with nature.
Actually, you're an idealist.
That's because you see, the opposite is too often a man without love.
I don't believe it.
To think the way you do, you have to be a man who lives on either a tremendous despair or a tremendous hope.
On both, perhaps.
Oh, I wasn't asking you.
I know. Are you capable of feeling contempt for a man?
I think so.
On what conditions?
It's quite simple, I think. In cases when he was motivated by expediency or a desire for money.
That's simple enough. I don't think you would like me if you knew more about me. Thank you for the company. Good night.
We are leaving you to your paradise, but it was wonderful to see you. Be nice to your wife, please.
So you're really dying?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. I knew this would happen and I'm taking this as an opportunity to face this head on.
I see why you didn't want me here, and though I'm still insulted, I thank you because I don't like seeing you like this. But I won't leave you till you die.
He's so handsome when he sleeps.
So sad.
When he dies, you're gonna be rich, you know?
Yes.
Well, then buy me a drink.
That was fun. What do you want to do next?